There are haunted objects, unfortunate amulets, artifacts, cursed objects throughout history, without explanation. Scientists still cannot explain the terrifying energy that some archaeological sites also have. Do you believe in bad luck? When something does not go as you wanted, everything seems to work against you, and it seems that the universe hates you for no reason. Do you think it may have to do with spells and charms? Haunted places or cursed artifacts? You may think that all of this is meaningless superstitions. But, you will be surprised to know that there are many accounts of haunted and cursed objects throughout history, which have no scientific explanation. Many of these artifacts are normally found at archaeological sites, uncovering ancient treasures, which may contain all of humanity's ills. Sounds fascinating and scary at the same time, don't you think? So if you dare, get ready to discover all about the most terrifying cursed objects in the world that scientists still cannot explain. And for some extra fun, find our mascot Ned, hiding throughout the video. The Curse of the Ring stolen by Senicianus. The ring is one of the most precious objects for human beings. And so it was for Silviano, a king of Rome. On a visit to England, Silviano had a gold ring stolen from him. The thief was believed to have been a person named Senicianus. So Silviano wrote a petition on a tablet to the Celtic god Nodens, demanding a curse to all the people named Senicianus, and demanding his ring back. In 1929, archaeologist Sir Mortimer Wheeler found a connection between the ring and the curse table, a fact that could not be confirmed. In his investigation, Wheeler asked his friend J.R.R. Tolkien for help, who supposedly took inspiration for the creation of one of the most interesting books of the modern era, The Hobbit. The main artifact of the book? The ring. The gold rush and the Karun treasure. Hidden treasures are almost always full of gold, jewelry, and very valuable artifacts that could make you rich. But Karun's treasure can turn your whole world upside down if you're not careful. In 1966, in a province of Turkey, archaeologists found more than 300 Lydian artifacts, which came from the 7th century BC. Although it was impressive, and a discovery to be celebrated, the treasure kept a great secret. It caused a sick obsession in people. And these people were looking to get a piece of treasure no matter the cost. The locals called this curse the gold rush, a disease that clouded people's consciousness, as long as they could have a part of the wealth in their hands. Do you think it is a curse? Or is it pure ambition? The mummy that sunk the Titanic. Originally from ancient Egypt, mummies are one of the most popular monsters in science fiction, and, although they are only preserved human or animal remains, we think they are cursed, and can hurt us. This is the case of the mummy of bad luck, an artifact, which is not even a mummy. It is the lid of a sarcophagus, which was taken from Egypt and brought to Europe, a few centuries ago. This artifact is connected with some tragedies such as the death of several members of a crew that was transporting the mummy to Europe, and significant economic losses for the people who had it in their possession. They also say that this mummy caused the sinking of the Titanic. But, unfortunately for those of us who believe in the supernatural, this story is false, and the artifact was never on board of the largest ship of its time. Bad luck from the Irish fairies. Irish rings were ancient circular bases made of earth or stone. They served as agricultural settlements. Over time, they stopped being used, and tourists began to be told that fairies lived in these rings. Locals say that disturbing these rings is bad, as it can anger the fairies who shelter their gold in these fortresses. So strong is the belief that disturbing these sites is said to lead to the death of livestock, family members, and damage to personal relationships. Ireland's richest man, Sean Quinn, was one of the victims when moving one of these structures to build a quarry. Soon after, he suffered a financial crisis, which left him bankrupt. The Curse of the Hope Diamond. The diamond is one of the most famous gemstones in the world. And it is, due to its great beauty, that it attracts so much attention, that even legends about curses have been created from these precious minerals. The Hope Diamond is supposedly cursed. This blue diamond weighs almost 50 carats. Originally this was over 112 carats, uncut. And, according to legends, it has ruined many people's lives since its discovery. An alleged version of the origin of this curse began in India. The Hope Diamond is said to have adorned a statue in a Hindu temple. But, one day it was stolen by a priest, who was supposedly punished to death, in a cruel way. In the mid-1600s, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, a French merchant, was struck by tragedy, for allegedly stealing the Diamond of Hope. It is said that he suffered from a fever so strong that it made him sick, and he was eaten by wolves in a forest. Although other sources claim that Tavernier sold the diamond to a French king, and died in Russia at age 84. Do you believe in the curse of the Hope Diamond? The Screaming Skull at Burton Agnes Hall. I can't think of a more chilling object than a skull. And the story of this particular skull is going to freeze your blood. Catherine Ann Griffith was the youngest of 3 sisters who lived in a mansion in the village of Burton Agnes, in England, in the 16th century. Anne was obsessed with decorating and improving the mansion and loved her more than anything in the world. One day, Anne was attacked by criminals who left her on the verge of death. Upon returning to the mansion, Anne told her sisters that she wished her head would always remain in the mansion after she died. If they failed to do this, it would make the mansion a terrifying place. Anne kept her promise, since every time the skull is taken out of the house, a terrifying ghost appears and produces terrible screams that can scare anyone away. The painting of the anguished man. When you look at a painting that catches your attention, what are you thinking about? The meaning of the painting and the intention of the author? The aesthetics and technique you used? Would you ever imagine that there may be paintings with such sinister meanings that it is better not to see them up close? The Anguished Man is one of the most recognized paintings in the world, because many believe that it is cursed. But don't blame them. The reason so many people believe this is because the unknown artist of the work mixed his own blood with the painting and took his life just after finishing it. Doesn't that sound scary? It is such a terrible story that the painting cannot be sold, because it can endanger people's lives. For this reason, its owner, Sean Robinson, keeps it hidden in a safe place, away from home and from all people. Peche Island. When planning your next trip, and you are looking at interesting tourist destinations, do not go to look at the Peche Island in Canada, since this is one of the most cursed places in the world. The Laforets, a French-Canadian family, moved to the island in the 19th century and lived with the natives for a time until Hiram Walker, a businessman, kicked them out of their property. For this, Rosalie Laforet cursed the island. Believe it or not, Rosalie's curse did come true because the Walkers built a mansion to celebrate their victory, and they all lost their lives shortly after this. The island has had no inhabitants since that time. Would you dare to visit one of the most cursed places on this planet? Ayers Rock. In the southern part of Australia, there is a large sandstone formation called the Ayers Rock. It is considered a sacred place for the natives of the area, and locals recommend tourists not to take anything from that place. But there are certain people who did not follow the recommendations and took stones from this place. Many of these stones have been returned because they have caused illness, bad luck, and even breakups, and death for curious people who decide to take what they shouldn't. The same thing happens in Hawaii. Hundreds of envelopes with stones and beach pebbles arrive every year. Pele, the goddess of fire in Hawaiian mythology, causes the same havoc as that caused in Australia. So, remember to follow the recommendations the next time you visit a place. Annabelle. Playing with dolls is fun, but not all of them are cute and friendly. Living dolls can be one of the worst nightmares for both small children and adults. And it is that this fear is considered a phobia, called pediophobia. So take it easy, you're not the only one. Annabelle's story is real. Yes, it is a rag doll, created by Johnny Gruelle, for a series of children's books, where the doll was called Raggedy Ann. According to paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, one of these dolls, was actually possessed by a dead girl. This Raggedy Ann, named Annabelle, was a gift from a mother to her daughter named Donna. The doll inexplicably moved on its own, and Donna began to suffer attacks and scratches. Her mother, fearing for her daughter's life, contacted the Warrens, and they determined that Annabelle was possessed by a demon who was trying to possess the girl. Annabelle was locked up in the Warren house. The Pyramids of Egypt. The Pyramids of Egypt are one of the great wonders of the ancient and modern world. But they have not always been accessible to the public or tourists. They recently reopened an alleged cursed tomb that is located in the Great Pyramid of Giza. It stayed deprived of tourists for almost 30 years. This Great Pyramid dates back more than 4,500 years. In it there is a cemetery for 3 supervisors who worked for the royal palace. One of these supervisors is said to have cursed the grave so that it would not be desecrated, and to ward off thieves from graves and relics. When you visit the pyramids of Egypt, remember not to take anything that does not belong to you, unless you want a curse. The Ghost Car of Surrey. In the county of Surrey, England, there is the A3 highway, well known for its car accidents. It was an ordinary day for Surrey police, when they received an emergency call registering that a car was off the road, and with the lights on. But the strange thing happened when the police arrived at the site and found nothing. But, a few meters away, was a car hidden in the brush, where there was a decomposing young man. According to the authorities, this vehicle had been there for at least 5 months. So, what was the call about? Was it an appearance of the original vehicle? A prank on the phone, or a coincidence? Ancient curses and bad luck can give us goosebumps. Especially when we see so many supernatural cases that have no apparent logical explanations. Superstitions may be just that, superstitions, but we cannot deny that there are forces beyond superstition that can cause you very good things or unimaginable tragedies. If you come across an ancient treasure or a strange artifact, don't touch it. Who knows what you can unleash on yourself, and on many people out of curiosity? Don't forget that it's always better to be safe than sorry. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you don't have nightmares tonight, and until next time. Remember to hit the bell icon after you subscribe, so you can get instant notifications for all our new videos.